My name is Notepad, and on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on the Nechromancer's Guide to Dolls. Not really a game per se, but more a collection of thinking, ideas, concepts, random bits strewn about. Uh, in a game that I actually hold very dear to my heart. I actually love Nechronica. I think the game is a fantastic game. So because I love it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a fucking razor to it and chop it open with no survivors, because I can. Seriously, that is the only reason why I'm doing this, is because I can, and I see no reason not. That I made an oath to a merchant saying that I would allow him to play his flesh abominations right here. So, I already did the preface, which is pretty much is this like, yeah, this is what Nechronica is. It has like a very yeah, how Necronica is seen by many and for good reason, a special kind of uncomfortable game due to those themes being about the loss of innocence, which Ryo Kamiya, the writer and designer, decided to use little girls for due to his own tastes. Yeah, it's I do address the big issue with Necronica, and I will always address the big issue with Necronica, and anyone who doesn't say anyways, it's that kind of something. It's called self-reflection. Yes, this game is normally about being effectively a Guro fantasy. However, I'm going to be making it into still a Guro fantasy because I have zero sense of right or wrong. So, the main three sections I'm going to be working on, these are just kind of like things that I had drafted up already. There might be more, there might be less, kind of depends on the situation. Is a diatribe on non-combat functionality, which is going to be what we would traditionally call a skill system, but I have to call them aptitudes because we already have skills. Oh god, do we have skills? Here's the Nechromancer's Guide to Dolls spreadsheet. There's a lot here, as you can tell. All of the like classes and stuff when it comes to positioning. These are all referred to as skills. So class skills, position skills, those are all skills. These are parts. They are different, so I can't call them skills. I have to call them something completely different because that's my life. I know how to do it. It's mostly just a game of writing everything down. Then I'm probably going to add some like little stuff for the adventure phase. That's kind of the goal anyway. The meat of this project is going to be here though. Like this is where a majority of the meat of the game is the meat of this project is going to come in from, which is extended combat operations. I'm going to put a grid on it. I'm going to see if I can't actually turn Nechronica into what we would call a pretty standard game rather than using the traditional chart, 5-section chart. I'm going to see if I can't put it on the grid. Again, why, you may ask? Why, Notepad, would you do such a thing? The answer is because I can, because I have zero sense of right or wrong. Battlefield objects, I know how to do that as well. Effectively, what that is what I want them to be like, is that there are things, whether it's on the grid battlefield or on on the traditional, 5-step one that the Chronica uses. I want their things to be on there because right now there aren't technically, unless the GM like puts them there as like a deliberate part. So, but I want to put like, here's like a mechanical like thing for you to work with. Like, hey, there is a box here that you can like climb on and get air or something. Hey, there is a thing here that you can use now to do a thing. And I should actually say battlefield objects plus scavenged goods. Because in Nechronica, there is no such thing as I want to beat you over the head with a rusty club. There's zero way to actually pick up a club, like just a metal club on the ground, and just savagely just cave in some undead skull with it. That's not a thing. What you'd have to do is you have to go here and you have to find the right part. So that would be under armaments. That would be an armament part, probably a tier 1 armament part. And that's how you would do it. That's how you would actually perform such a feat. Sometimes you just want to beat the shit out of someone with a club though, with a rusty metal pipe. Cool. I want you to be able to do that. Because I think that's cool. Will they be good? No, they're going to be terrible. Like, scavenged goods are going to be bad. Like, they're just going to be, like, AP costs are just going to be all over the place. The armor is going to be bad. It's pretty much not going to be good anytime you look at it. However, it's your ability to say, hey, I have, like, this metal chest piece on. It isn't going to protect me very much, but it might eat a blow that would normally kill me, or it might allow me to trigger it for like 3 AP for a defend 1 because I have nothing else to defend myself with. It's shit like that. Finally, we also have setup and knockdown skills. There are a few of these, like few enhancements and like few class and position skills, which do things like that, but not a lot of, I'm setting up here, and then you come to me and we can do a thing to do a bigger thing. I think that would be nice to have. Why? Because we're working together. But right now, there's the, like, support action, and that's what you do. You use the support action. That's kind of how you interact with people. Or you use some of, like, the sorority skills. But the sorority skills are like, everybody goes back to the bottom of the board. It's like, oh, alright, cool, fuck it. The non-doll dolls. Abominations are going to be literally just an amalgamation of parts. That is how you're going to make an abomination. You are just going to get a shit ton of parts and you're going to throw them all at each other and you're going to have fun. Fuck you. And like, you are literally an amalgamation of flesh, metal pieces, and electronics moving from point A to point B, but you still have that kind of like internal mind that's a little bit weird. Like, you're this horrifying beast, effectively. Barely can be classified as a living object at that point. You do, however, think, which kind of brings me to robotic entities, which are kind of in the same thing as dolls, but they're innocent. You know, you think, but are you though? They're not quite alive. They're not quite dead. They're trying to find their own place in the world a little bit. Non-human auxiliary troops is going to be all about animals, which animals have to factor in some different things, because guess what? Your fucking house cat doesn't really have thumbs. So that's not a thing anymore. You can't think about that. Or like a bear with all these enhancements has to think about things differently. You're not going to have parts that a normal human would have. You're going to, like, the fact that you don't have arms necessarily are going to be a problem. But that's something you have to deal with. And the final one is Battalion Z, which is playing adults. Now, there are some Nechronica purists probably out there screeching internally. What do I mean by this? Pretty much members of Battalion Z, otherwise known as adults, are very purpose-built. They are what we would like to call high-level characters. They are very strong, they are very well-to-do, they got a lot of parts, they got a lot of skills, they are good. The problem is, and the kind of where their tragedy comes in, is that they're ticking down. Is that every session, every time, they're going to tick down further and further and further and further until they just die. Not necessarily like, oh, I've been chopped in half, but more along the lines of like, my internal functions are stopped working because I was put on a clock. Dolls can live for as long as they are alive. You don't. Like, you kind of know you have, like, a set amount of time. Ideally, the ideal would be allowing everybody to work together. So you can have a group that is one abomination, a member of Battalion Z, and a doll. If you want to do that, cool. And I want them all to kind of work together. Hence why I have a sample character here. This is Amalia. This is just a sample character I'm just going to be using frequently throughout, which is just going to be me playing around with it to make sure everything actually works, because I can, and I need something to actually base things off of. Ta-da, literally that's it. So, that's the plan. So, right now though, we are going to be working on aptitudes. You're not what you should be. Aptitude. So, this is not going to be a fun, like, series. Like, I'm going to tell you all that right now. This isn't going to be, like, fun and exciting. Of like, oh, wow, look at all these cool new mechanics. No, this is going to be raw numbers, because that's literally what it is. So, let's see. Okay, so... Nechronica is... Actually, Nechronica's non-combat systems. Combat systems can roughly be summarized as roll a d10, try to hit a 6+, as it's clearly not the focus of the system. System in question, the focus of the system. This complete lack of non-combat systems is referred to as the quote adventure phase in the game, as it's about adventuring around. Often the adventure phase is the segue, we can call it, is the segue into the combat phase, into the battle phase. It would be the battle phase. It's segue into the battle phase as the dolls discover something or someone that wants to kill them, get in their way, or is protecting something they want. Let's see. And this is going to be written a little bit weird. This entire game is going to be written a bit odd, because it's not really going to be like, here's some like lore bits. Like, no, it's not going to be written like that at all. It's going to be almost development focused about me going through Nechronica, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the entirety of Nechronica in a very clinical way. And I've told people this, like, what this ultimately is going to be is Notepad just, like, rips apart Nechronica, because that's what the game is. Like, this is what this entire project is going to be. Because even in the fan translation, as you can kind of see. So, this is the actual, like, how things work. Like, this is the world section. Okay, that goes up to 31. You're like, oh, wow, 31 pages of stuff. Yeah, this is all lore stuff. Lore stuff for sample characters. Yeah, there was actually quite a few sample characters. So, doll-wise, okay, let's do it. Doll section starts at page 32, and it ends on page 115. Actually, no, it ends on a page 121. Like, there are a lot of pages dedicated effectively to, almost 100 pages are dedicated exclusively to the positions, the classes, the maneuvers, basic parts, reinforcement parts, because that's the main focus of the game. Like, honestly, that's what it is. The rules section is about 10 pages. Like, honest to God, it's not actually that much. Like, the longest section of this is 10 pages, which is the combat section. The rest is like 4 or 5, like, they're not that big, but they're not supposed to be that big, because rules are really simple, and for good reason. Again, it's, the incident arises, you encounter the enemy, you go into the battle phase. Like, okay, here's the adventure phase, this is what we're dealing with. This is literally the entire adventure phase of this game, which is, okay, the dolls are made, their feathers decided, opens up at the adventure phase. Cool. The length of this phase, there may be very little to it, or may last a considerable amount of time. It's going to last not very long, to be perfectly frank. You announce what you're going to be doing, you understand the situation, you have conversations, your incident arises, because we're Toho apparently now. You encounter, and then you immediately go into the battle phase. This is what's going to cost the longest, and this is kind of what, these are the two things that will last the longest, but they also don't mean much. Like, honest to God, you don't do much. These are what action checks are. These are during the adventure phase and the end phase. This is what you do. These aren't really complex. Parts or fragments or memories can be used up to 3 bonus dice for a total of 4. But the goal is still to hit 6+. That's literally it. Anytime you roll a critical failure, you damage parts, which is like losing health. Which is, we're going to use that same idea. Hence why I see this right here. The big thing here, what I'm going to be doing is adding in with this concept in mind. Due to the fact that we're effectively going to be using D10s for this, the modifiers can't be that big, because we're going to be using a 2D10 system, which is 2D10 versus a target number. This isn't exactly going to be astounding for this. However, it's more than just roll a D6 and have fun. That's not what we're going to do here. But the modifiers are never going to go above 3. 3 is going to be like, you are incredibly trained in this, you are very aptitude, you have high aptitude in this, that's it. Because you don't need it to go any higher. We really don't. So, let's see, aptitude. The aptitude system. The aptitude system is my quote rework of adventure checks. Actually, I should say of action checks, and adventure checks. The aptitude system is my rework of quote adventure checks, which take place during the adventure, and end phase of traditional Nechronica. This section is deliberately gutted somewhat. Due to the fact, due to Japanese game design and Kamiya's focus on the combat portion of the game. Actually, it should be on the quote on the characters of the game. Japanese game design encourages fast segmented play as time is always of importance. Getting to the quote good part should be essential. Should be priority. My proposed aptitude system. Is going to be maintaining that core concept, but simply adding more meat to it without tacking on. Without tacking on any additional parts or skills to the characters. This section is a staple. This section can be described. This part, aptitudes can be described as being quote stapled onto a standard Nechronica character. A standard Nechronica doll. There we go. Actually, I should rename this. There we go. A diatribe on non-combat functionality. Base 2d10. Yep, we're going to be using 2d10 because, like, the core system isn't going to be complicated. Like, my idea isn't actually, like, this revolutionary, like, oh my god, I've never seen something as astounding as this. No, it's going to be that. But I'm also not going to be, like, getting rid of the core concept either. This is not going to affect the battles at all. Now, one thing, too, is that if we look here, these are what our standard target numbers are going to look like. They're a little bit different from what we would say, like, normal. Normal Nechronica might look like, or like normal 2d10 might look like. However, if we look at the numbers here, we're rolling 2d10. We need to hit a 6+. Like, normally, we roll 1d10, and we need to hit a 6+. That's how we succeed. However, because we are smart and we know how things work, we can see this and, oh, I'm rolling 2d10, and what do I need to hit an average check? 2 6s. I'm trying to keep the same idea. Like, rolling a 6 up is still very good for you in more ways than one. If you roll a 6 up on a basic check, you're still going to pass, like, regardless. So that is the method to my madness. Don't worry. Like, I somewhat know what I'm doing. Not much, but I do sometimes know. So let's see. So we want to do not heading 1. We want to do heading 2. Standard aptitude tests. Because how this is going to be actually formatted, this actual like document, is what I'm going to do, because of course I need to do something completely pretentious in this, is in between every single one of these, like it's going to say a diatribe on non-combat functionality, and I'm going to put a thing here. I'm going to put like some basic quote lore writing or whatever in here to explain like what this is in setting, because if you think I am not like going to let the setting influence me at all, you're wrong, because I am, because I can do that. Because like overall, like the setting is actually kind of interesting. Like the setting does have some value to it, and there's a reason I kind of like it, and the fact that I like some of these ideas. Mostly, it's going to be taking place around here. And in the late 2030s into the 2040s. That's literally what's going to be. That's going to be the plot of this. The plot of this of the Notecromancer's Guide to Dolls is some guy is helping develop the dolls to initially and how they function. And he's like, well, fuck. Hence why things like this, or like extended combat operation, that's why that's being named that way. So standard aptitude, SAS. So the SAS system. So, during doll creation. Actually, how do I want to word this? Okay, no. During doll creation. Because where is this? Let's think about it like this. Where is this going to go in the book? If I was going to slot this, just crowbar it into this book, where would it go? Because it would probably go right down here. This would be the last thing you effectively fill out. You get all your parts, you get all things there, you go to page 117, and you would put it right here. Right here. So you put it there being like, after you've chosen all your parts, after you've chosen everything, now you can assign your aptitudes. Cool. During doll creation, actually, after all reinforcement parts, After all reinforcement parts, and basic and reinforcement, basic and reinforcement parts have been chosen. The doll must now assign 3 aptitudes among any of her parts. An aptitude is what would traditionally. Actually, no. Fuck. No. Okay. Let's just assign attributes, and then we can do what aptitudes are, because aptitudes would technically go in the rules section of the game. Because fun fact, this book is actually laid out fucking horribly. Like, this book is really poorly laid out in some cases, mostly because it is a plain text document. You can say it all you want, it is a plain text document. I'm not bashing anybody for this. That's literally just what it is. So, okay, after all basic, assign 3 aptitudes among her parts. An aptitude is a particular set of memories or automatic functionality or automatic nervous tics that drive the doll to perform feats outside of basic expertise, outside of basic functions. All aptitudes are traditionally ing words. Ing words as ing verbs. Verbs, or actually it should be this, ing words to demonstrate the act of, quote, doing something. For example, Amalia. Because we have Amalia here, because we need, here's Amalia. What I'm actually going to do is the Notecromancer's Guide to Dolls and NGTD. And what we need to do is we need to duplicate this. It's going to freak the fuck out because it doesn't want to be duplicated, and this is going to be the aptitude section. So, under this current situation, I've been chosen to almost assign 3 aptitudes. For example, Amalia assigns hunting to her brain. It would be hunting. Let's just do finding to her. What does she have? It would be her spine, probably. To her spine. And eating to her jaw. Because she has assigned these aptitudes. On these aptitudes, she is able to learn and internalize them during the end phase. If they are used during the adventure phase. So what this would look like. So spine I put in finding, so it would be, oh Jesus. Oh God. Yeah, welcome to we're gonna break that apart, put that right there. We're going to assign everything on the maneuver, because this is what we have to do here, because I like this character sheet, and it should have finding. Notice that her spine is hunting, correct? Yeah, finding, no. Is aptitude, finding. And to her brain, we'll have to do that. Actually, we need to go there. We need to select everything. We need to put that right there. We need to select it again. We need to exit out on it. We need to repost it. Actually, we need to go like this, then repost it. And then with this. Oh my god, I fucking hate this fucking thing sometimes. Okay, you worked. And why don't you want to work? Oh my god, I gotta do it this way, don't I? Why can't you have a simple character sheet? You can't form a face that partially intersects a merge. What do you fucking mean it partially intersects a merge? I just want to do this right. The maximum, we'll do that, and then she'll have aptitude, hunting. There we go. Yeah, again, very pretty character sheet. Kind of annoying to work with, though. But don't worry, we can make it work. And her final one, she had in her, to her jaw, she had one, which is going to be, we're going to hit Control X, we're going to hit Control D, we're going to do this, and she's going to have the aptitude for eating things. Now, what is eating? Why is that going to be valuable? Because you can eat things that you really shouldn't do because you have a giant fuck-off jaw. We unmerge, we paste, we merge. There we go. This is what it would look like. You have an aptitude, and an aptitude. Okay. So if we go here, let's see if they were used during the adventure. Okay, so for example, Amalia assigns hunting to her brain, fighting to her spine, and eating to her jaw. No, because she's assigned these attributes. Let's see. Aptitude system. So next we get to do. Actually, what we should do is basic assign is heading 3. Aptitude assignment. Aptitude assignment. Aptitude assignment. Veteran dolls, or dolls who have developed, or dolls who have gained new parts through favor. Veteran dolls who actually freshly created veteran dolls may have a +1. Actually have a +1 +2 aptitudes already learned, already internalized, while dolls who don't have any may learn aptitudes through their adventures. Naturally. Parts which are damaged or severed during the battle phase may not be internalized. But once internalized, the aptitude will stay with the doll until she is annihilated. So, okay. So we have an aptitude assignment. Next, what we need to do is we need to actually go to the aptitude system, which would go, if we go to the aptitude systems here, technically this would be like right, wouldn't be the flow of combat either. It would be fragments of memory. Yeah, it would be like, technically it'd be during the adventure. It would be after the action check. It would replace the action check system entirely. So we'd go on page 124. So, the aptitude system. As the dolls are actually, as the dolls partake in the world during the adventure phase, they may encounter situations and problems which cannot be immediately overcome. When this occurs, an aptitude check will be called. An aptitude check has the doll. Let me fucking pronounce. Doll take 2d10 and roll them. 2d10 and a roll. Actually, has to take two. An aptitude check has a doll take 2d10 and roll them for the chance of success or failure. And then we need to go here, and then we need to select you real fast. There we go, we need to put you right here. So, an aptitude check, actually. So, simple aptitude. So, simple check dash is going to be target number 7. Actually, we're going to say TN7. It's going to be TN7. Enroll them for chance of success or failure. Attempting to hit a target number TN. If the doll, actually no, we're going to put the target numbers first. So a simple check is going to be that. A average check is going to be TN12, and a complex check is going to be TN. What's the TN? 17. As you notice, it's increasing by 5. It's actually pretty difficult. Like, a complex check is really fucking hard, by the way. Like, it's hard. It's 2d10, though. Like, curve-wise, it's more average. Like, it's a little, like, average-wise, you're going to be rolling a little bit under average, which is appropriate. Because guess what? You're fucking dolls, and that's what your entire thing is supposed to be doing. So, simple check, average check, complex check, Control Shift 8. Why are you not that way? There we go. So, put you right there. Aptitude check. So, dolls also possess internalized and what are we gonna call it up here? Yeah, fragment. Actually, no, also possess fragmented and internalized attributes. So yeah, okay. A doll also possesses fragmented and internalized attributes. All right. Internalized aptitudes. Aptitudes. A fragmented aptitude. Aptitude is tied to a part. And must be risked. And is tied to a part. When the check is called, when the aptitude check is called, for, the doll with an appropriate fragmented fragmented, let's see, a doll with an appropriate fragmented aptitude Aptitude may risk the part. May risk the part to add a +1 to it. To add a +1 to the check. That's literally it. You add a +1. Like you suck. Okay. Actually, doll. Actually, may risk the part to begin the process of internalizing it. If the doll is success of internalizing, begin the process of internalizing it. If the doll is successful, they will gain the internalize. They will gain the actually. Well, if the doll is successful, if the doll succeeds or fails, she will gain the aptitude at the end of the she'll gain the aptitude during the end phase, suggesting the part is not destroyed. An internalized aptitude. Let's see. An internalized aptitude is ranked from +0 to +3. Symbolizing how skilled and developed the doll's aptitude is. During an aptitude check, she will add her internalized aptitude to the adventure check. She will add her internalized aptitude to the check. Let's see. Only two aptitudes may be applied to any one check. So the idea being that, like, as a standard, like, starting doll, you're not really going to have anything like this because you are brand fucking new. You might be like weeks old. You might not kind of comprehend like you're alive yet. So don't worry about, like, this is a system where you want to kind of keep the same dolls around for a while. And, like, that's kind of the goal. Like, this isn't really a, oh boy, let's do an immediate one. If you want to do that, do this. You get a +1, +1, and +2. That's what you get. Yeah, that's just what they are internalized. And they're ings. They're hunting, they're finding, they're eating. I'll show you what I should do is aptitudes. Aptitudes may also be actually some aptitude checks can only be attempted by those who possess an internalized in a fragmented or internalized aptitude. So some aptitude checks can only be attempted by those who possess a fragmented or internalized aptitude, allowing them to do things which others may not be able to. Situational modifiers can change the result. So actually, we should say is finally, a doll in desperate circumstances. Let's see, desperate circumstances may also risk appropriate parts. May also risk appropriate parts to add a D10 to the check, allowing let's see, appropriate parts to add a D10 to the check. This D10 This may be up to actually. Let's see. A doll in desperate circumstances may also risk appropriate parts to add a D10 to the check. Actually, appropriate parts to add up to 2d10 to the check, risking two parts max. The doll will roll her dice and take the highest results. Take the highest results in these times. However, if the doll were to fail, the check regardless, she may the gambled parts. Let me check. It would be, you can add parts or fragments of memories. Okay, so we're going to do. Okay, so add up 2d10 for the check, risking 2 parts max. To roll her dice, take the highest result in these times. Take the highest result of all the dice rolled. However, the doll will fail the check regardless if gambled parts are damaged. If a doll were to use a fragment of a memory. They may also they simply add a D10. They simply add a D10 to the check. Let's see. They simply add a D10 to the check and add it together. So the idea being, you can gamble your parts. You can gamble 2 parts to get 2 extra D10. But you're always going to take the highest of that. You're always going to take the 2 highest when you gamble those parts. But the idea being, you can roll fucking 1s across the board and just critically fuck up. You're just you're shit out of luck. However, you can also add a fragment of a memory to just make it easier. But you're going to have very few fragments of memories. And some of these are going to be fucking useless for you. Like, because they're fragments of memory. They might be useful, they might not be useful. That's the entire point. This does, let's see. So, if the doll were to fail, the check regardless gamble parts are damaged. If the doll were to use fragment of memory, they simply add a D10 to the check and add it together. So, finally, a doll must obey the -303 rule. When making a check, if the doll scores -3 of the result, who scores +3 of the result, well, she scores a critical success. Actually, do we want to do that? No, we don't. She scores a critical success. So, no, we want to do 555. Would that be appropriate? Yeah, 555 works. Because if it's 7, that still means you can roll a 2, which is just like, if you fuck up a check of 7, like, you fucked up. Like, you fucked up hard. Like, things are on fire. Like, you have critically fucked up, and it's really hard to do if you have fragments of memory. And that's kind of the point. Like, the point is, like, you don't want to, like, fail things immediately. So when making a check, if the doll scores 3+ on the result, 5+ of the result, she scores a critical success. Things going exceptionally well. If the doll scores -5 of the result, a 5 on a target number, so it would be technically on that for 12, so it would be a 7 on a target number 12 check. She scores a critical failure. the parts breaking, which results in disaster. Which results in disaster. In addition to her parts breaking. So the entire idea of this idea is that you're kind of internalizing things, you're taking it back, and making those initial checks are going to be hard, but I want them to be hard. Because you're young, you don't know what's going on, you're stupid kids. Situation immediately would come, 2d10, the roll, chance of failure, but we don't want the aptitudes to be like strictly like really hardcore, you could say. Actually, I should add some sample aptitudes. So let's see. To the skill section. I have a bunch of skills, don't I? I do have a skill thing, right? Skills. Yeah, let's go to D2000. Actually, wait a second. I gotta go here, and then I can go to... wait a second. SRD files, that's what it is. D2000. Tell me about our skills. Tell me about my skills. Okay, so we want to do sample aptitudes. We'll say things like cooking, cleaning, gambling, learning, languages. With the idea of it being like, you don't necessarily need to know. It doesn't need to be an ing word, but it's like most of the time they're going to be things like ing words. So let's see, this would be, so what would be local lore? That would be a good one. Trading. Engineering. Actually, tweaking. Actually, what would be a good term for fixing? It would be fixing, which scavenging, building, hiding, disguising, gathering, spying. What would be a good one for investigation? Finding would be one. Finding, lock picking, stealing. We have sneaking already. Yeah, well, we're having sneaking again. Street. We don't really need streetwise. Medicling, is that one? Stitching, I guess. Do I have sewing? Yeah, stitching. What would be a good word for like the idea of like you're literally being able to patch up your own people, like in this like desperate situation of like, I can try to fix you, I don't know if I can. What would be a good one? Stitching. Patching. Patching up. Bombing. That would be one. Let's see. So they have just like literally just like ability to handle explosives would be one. Be like, don't worry about me, guys. I know how these things work. Blows up in my face. Charming, commanding, deceiving. What would be a good etiquette? What would be, that'd be charming, I think. Oh, negotiating. No, no, no. Charming wouldn't be, that would work for charming. Formal science. Do I have thinking in here? Like, pretty much the idea of, like, I think learning would be. What would be one for just, like, being smart? Like, smarting, thinking, sciencing. You don't understand it, but you definitely could think you do. Piloting. Actually, we'll do driving, hunting, identifying, navigating, surviving, swimming. Oh, we already have hunting. There we go. Sample aptitudes. And then we want to do, actually, no, we want to highlight all of these. We want to go right here. We want to paste all of them. We want to go up here. We want to hit this sort of paragraph A to Z. But that's going to do that. Now, this is going to be really jank if it works properly. So we need to do format, we need to do columns, we need to do 3 columns. Okay, we've done 3 columns. So here's just what we're going to see. We're going to say sample attribute, so sample aptitudes. We could do 2 more. We need 2 more. There we go. Breaking. Yeah, you want to literally have a skill, an aptitude for breaking shit. Go for it. Why? Because you're a violent person, and that's what you do. You break things. But like the big thing here, like the thing that I want to kind of get across, is that these aptitudes aren't necessarily supposed to be useful. And what I am actually going to put right down here is the only requirement for what is and is not inappropriate, aptitude is that aptitudes can never be used in combat directly. They are small fragments of memories and automatic movements of these body parts and tools. Because we have to deal with the fact that everyone's psychokinetic slightly. Because welcome to fucking Nechronica lore. So yeah, like just taking things like these is fine. If you want to apply like hunting here, hunting is pretty useful, but you may be like, oh, well, I have finding as well. You're like, yeah, you want to find it, and then once you find it, you want to start eating it, because that's who she is. All her body parts were built around that concept of hunting something, finding it, and eating it. That's who she is. That's just who Amalia is. She is a poorly functioning monster of she's a gothic baroque. Her entire job is to jump at you and rip you in half. Let's see, we want to learn skills required to becoming ingrained, innate skills are part of a skill, so yeah. And then we're going to go here, and we have the aptitude system, how the aptitude system is going to work in general. And what we need to go to now is that we opened you up. Modifiers, madness. So actually, failing a madness check at the end of turn during the battle phase, losing target of a fetter as the cost of an. Okay, actually, I should actually add this in. Madness may be spent to re-roll a single die during an aptitude check. Madness may be spent to re-roll a single die during an aptitude check. But not the entire check. Because one thing to note as well is that most of these parts is that during like action checks. So like, let me see if I can find it. There was one part, I think it's like animal. We want to go here, we want to go to data, we want to create a filter real fast. I believe it's like animal ears gets a bonus somewhere. Animal ears, animal ears. Yeah, right here. Yeah. If you make an action check using this part, a critical failure does not destroy this part. Yeah, okay. Like things like this, yeah, these are pretty easy to actually work with. Okay, we don't got to worry about that. Cool, cool. Poggers, poggers. Poggers in the chat. Everyone, we're Gucci, everybody. We're making it. We're making it. Okay. Let's see. That should be fine enough. So if we go here, we go here. Okay. And actually what I should do is acquiring new. And we'll say learning new aptitudes. One of the rewards for karma. During one of the rewards when the Nechromancer is declaring karma, may be the acquisition of aptitude points. Aptitude points are simply understood as freebies, as new. Actually, do we want to do that? Let's check the karma system out. Yay, karma! We love karma system. Like the weird leveling up system in this. Let's see. Understanding of karma. This karma related secrets within the coming sessions until the battle fails to reveal them. Okay. Actually, one of the rewards when is declaring karma may be the acquisition of aptitude. So, okay, one of the rewards when the Necromancer is declaring karma may be the acquisition of additional aptitudes and gaining of aptitude points. The Necromancer during this time may put forward checks or opportunities to learn new things and gain aptitude. Gain learned aptitudes. Aptitudes for it. Once aptitudes for it. Once the aptitude is learned, the doll cannot, quote, forget it unless there is serious trauma involved. under the discretion of the Necromancer. If the other major reward is the acquisition of aptitude points. Aptitude points, which range from 1 to 3 for each doll. Actually, 1, 2, yeah, for each doll. An aptitude point may be used to increase the aptitude of a increase the value, I should say, value of a learned aptitude by the desired value. By the desired value of the aptitude. For example, yeah, I have to do an example now. For example, Amalia has been wandering around the wastes for a long time. Her innate knowledge, for a long time, her hunger barely satisfied. They're satisfied by gnawing on the flesh of the flesh of her infrequent victims. Amalia, the Necromancer. The Necromancer has seen fit to grant Amalia the quote cooking learned aptitude for her cuisine, for her particular cuisine. Actually, we want to do undead cooking learned aptitude for a particular cuisine choice. At the end, choice starting at 0. At the end of the session, she has gained 2 aptitude points. To increase her undead cooking to 1, it will cost 1 aptitude point. However, she cannot increase it to 2. She cannot increase it to 2. Actually, to 2, because she does not have 2 aptitude points. Aptitude points do not diminish. Do not diminish. Aptitude points do not diminish. So they can be somewhat hoarded. Up to 10. So pretty much the idea of like you can't just like hoard a bunch of points, get like an aptitude, and immediately increase to 3. Because overall, it's going to cost 1 to do it. It's going to cost about 6 aptitude points to get a thing from 0 to 3, which is quite a bit. And the idea is like I want you to be able to like constantly be getting aptitudes. Like you're going to be gaining more and more and more and more of these that you're going to have to spread out your points. You might get a +2 here. You might want a 1 there. It's that idea. Like you're always going to be gaining something. She does not have 2 aptitude. For example, Amalia has been wandering the waste for a long time, her hunger barely satisfied. Grant Amalia the undead cooking learned aptitude for a particular choice of cuisine. Cuisine. Starting at 0. In the session, she's gained 2 aptitude points. To increase her undead cooking to 1, it will cost 1 aptitude point. However, she cannot increase it to 2 because she does not have 2 aptitude points. Okay. That should do for now. Because what that would be like, it would be like having a third... The best way to kind of word it is that you'd have like a third sheet over here being like, this is what my learned aptitudes are. But even here, you can kind of, you know, finagle with some of these to put it in here. So like, you could just say I have like undead cooking 2, undead cooking 1. So I get a +1 anytime the undead cooking becomes relevant. It might not come relevant very often, but it's one of those things like I have it in case it does become relevant, and I also have the fact that I have it, which I always say is valuable when it comes to skills. The act of having something is sometimes more valuable than anything. The act of possessing something can sometimes mean more than like using it all the time. It's like, I have the ability to juggle, but I'm not going to use it very often because I don't need to use it very often. But when I do, I'm going to need it. It also allows the GM to kind of say like, okay, I know you have this skill, so we're going to put you in a situation where you can use it. And it's like, oh, well, here's this situation. Oh, here's this. Like, let's see. Is there any other major points in here that I need to understand? Like, conversation checks are not affected by these. Like, they aren't. Just, it's because conversation checks are a bit different from action checks. But, like, I have the charming aptitude. Well, yeah, you have a charming aptitude. That means you can charm other people. Technically, it could probably add in some more non-combat stuff. Yeah, that wouldn't be a terrible idea. Okay, here's what I'm going to do for now, as I'm going to call it here. I know this wasn't like a long-ass time, but I wanted to kind of go over things and set everything up for the future. How we're going to be doing it, and what's the plan kind of going forward. Because this isn't going to be hard. Like, this isn't actually that complicated. Like, overall, this was 3 pages, and I added in a skill system. That works pretty well, and still maintains the theme. Like, yeah, you're going to be rolling 2d10 for adventure phases. Something happens, you can start gambling. You have to follow the 5-5-5 rule. Or it's like, you score +5 on the results, critical success, you score critical failure. Which, you can get like a minor success or a minor failure, and something might happen. Actually, I should say is finally a doll who scores dead on to the result. Has nailed it. Has nailed it, and may remove one madness point if she has any madness acquired. And she may remove 1 madness point from a fetter. If any have been acquired. Okay, so we have got. So yeah, the idea being you score like, here's a critical fail, here's a super success. If you score a 0, it's like dead on. You nailed it. You did exactly what you wanted, and things are good. You get it. It's going to be hard, mind you. Like, scoring a 12 dead on, that's like, yeah, that's going to take some time. Like, that's not exactly a common occurrence. But it's a little bit more common than anything else. Most likely, you're either going to succeed or fail. That's kind of like the basics of it. So, let's see, swimming. So, yeah, here's all the basic standard attributes. Diatribe on non-combat functionality. So pretty much we're going to need to add in, because we've got the aptitude system. What else do we need for non-combat stuff? Let's just think about it like, I want to add more things to non-combat. I just want to add more shit to it. What would we want to add to something that is a combat-focused game to add more non-combat functionalities? Well, first things first, in the top of my head, we could probably have more along the lines of, God, I just had it. And I forgot it. Why am I the way that I am? We can probably add in more, actually, I should add in the tools and bullshit option. Tools and bullshit, actually, I'll add in tools and bullshit right now, actually. Which we'll just call it under heading 2, which is just going to be tools and bullshit. That's what I'm going to call it. Tools and stuff. So, during their adventures, the dolls may acquire, find, pick up, or scavenge various tools and stuff that may be useful to them in the short term, but is rarely valuable outside of it. When a actually so tools can be used. Tools can be used during an aptitude check. Or during an adventure check. During an adventure check or aptitude check, because we want to get the idea that you can also use this for the base game. Used during an adventure aptitude check to perform one of the following. So first things first is bypass the check. The tool is the key. Is the perhaps literal key to the problem. Key to the problem. If consumed and used, the check is bypassed with flying colors. However, there is no critical success or internalizing aptitudes with it. With the idea being, you've effectively taken 10 or you've taken 12. You do like a basic idea of it, and it's just like, yeah, you're gonna like, oh no, there's a locked door. What do we do with it? A literal answer, like a good idea for a check like this, is we have a key. We found a key earlier. Let's open up the lock, and then we can open up the lock. That's it. So someone could say, well, I want to lockpick it. Like I want to, I want to like bash it open or break it open and something like that. You could do that. That is going to be a check. But you can also fail it and things go wrong, or you can critically succeed and things go really well, or you can nail it and everything goes wrong. It's kind of depending on the situation, how you want to handle it. Bypassing the check with a tool is like is click. Oh, cool. Like we opened it. Increase bonus modifiers. Bonus modifier. The bonus modifier. So actually, we want to do bonus modifier, bypass the check. Actually, we're just gonna say bypass bonus, or bypass bonus. The tool grants a simple +1 to +1 or +2 or +2 to the check in question if the tool is used. If the tool is used for it. This allows for even unskilled even unskilled dolls to contribute something to the check. The check if need be. I should actually accommodate for like what if you want to assist each other. But let me see. Bypass, bonus. The final one is just going to be a boon. The tool grants a significant boon during the check. This could be as simple as mitigating a consequence of performing it, or reducing the difficulty of the check down. So this is literally just like, here's shit you find, you're using stuff that is just out there. So like, you can bypass or bonus or boon. Your life is now easier by virtue of having this equipment. It may not be everything, but it may help. It may make things just a little bit easier on you and everybody else around you. Because again, you're working together. You're a team. You're good friends. Certain tools don't need to be used exclusively for checks. But may provide useful boons and may provide useful advantages for the dolls in desperate straits, in quiet moments. Having a functional flashlight is very having a functional flashlight may be the difference between a fear-inducing hallway and having maybe the difference between a fear-inducing hallway and a particularly short walk through a cobweb filled industrial hall. Literally, this is just me enunciating that you can have tools. Because that's not really a thing in the game. That's not really an idea that they want you, that is present. Just like if you have a tool, you can do something with it. You can use this tool to do something. And sometimes they're going to be useful. Other times they're not. I should actually think. The last use of tools and stuff can be used as bartering material. Should the dolls ever find themselves in a situation where negotiation with other parties are necessary, perhaps being able to throw shiny things at them for assistance may prove to be a quote lifesaver. Uses bartering material should the dolls ever find themselves in a situation where negotiation with other parties are necessary. Let's see. Often during the adventure. During the adventure phase, the adventure and end phase, dolls will simply find things on the ground. Certain checks may be required. Actually, I should say is the Nechromancer. The Nechromancer should form should have a set of an immediate set of tools in locations which the dolls may find. Which dolls may find. Because remember, the Necromancer is not your friend. The Necromancer does not need to say, like, here are the tools. You just say, you're in a room, this is what's going on, and if you're like, let's look inside the closet real fast, be like, yeah, there's a few basic tools in there that you could be using. Be like, like, maybe we should take this crowbar. But if they're like, that's nice, close the door immediately. Be like, well, you're fucked. Fuck you, fuckboy. Why? Because you're a necromancer. Like, it's not your job to hold their hand. It's your job to set the stage. What this is allowing them to have more non-combat stuff. Allowing them to do things which may not be, like, immediately like, wow, this isn't just me beating the living shit out of my enemies. This is like, yeah, this is like a thing. Like, +1, 2, boon during the check-in, then a literal key to solve the problem. Yeah, okay. All of these technically work for both systems. This one, like, a bonus is really powerful. Like, a +1 or +2 in that system is actually really powerful. Because it's like, oh, I'll have a 5, I now have a 6. Instead of a 4, I have a 5. Like, and when all you need is a 6 up, that's actually pretty valuable. But it's also just like tools and stuff, and I should throw in nah, I don't really need. No, I don't think I need that right. I'll think about, like, I'll ask some people being like, what would you want for, like, non-combat stuff in Nechronica? Because, like, this is exactly kind of the way I was envisioning stuff on this non-combat. When it comes like, here's a bunch of skill checks you can make. Roll 2d10, roll over certain values, you can get some bonuses, you can get some penalties. The entire idea, though, is that you're learning, because that was one of the core ideas behind Nechronica, is the reason you are kind of unskilled at these things is because you are usually unprepared for it, which is fine. It's just the fact that you're now unprepared for it, and now you're all going to die. Which is one of the things I want to get across with this, is that you're still unprepared, but it's like, Session 1 doll should feel a lot different than a Session 12 doll. The Session 12 doll, they know their shit, they've gone through some trials, they've internalized some parts, they are learning. They're gaining new things, and they're becoming stronger for it. Actually, I should put in learning new aptitudes. I should put in, before I forget, to the Necromancer section. Hold me closer, Necromancer. Yeah, there we go. Let's see, acquire new fetter, receive mana, generate basic part, generate reinforcement part. Learn a new skill from a position, gain a reinforcement part in a new category. So an aptitude, I would say that would be about 4. Because it's not, like, super valuable, but it's also not super valuable, like, in its own way. Like, you're gonna get some benefits. Why are people the way they are? Why is my server a fucking madhouse? Okay, so let me see. I actually need to. I'm actually gonna put this as like a insert. Wait a second. Let me see if I can do this right. I need to do setting 3, which is going to be the Necromancer favor chart for aptitudes. Just literally, I'm going to put in a chart here. I need to do it just needs to be a 2x2 if I recall, and this doesn't need to be very long. So this will work. So if I look up here, this will be points and effects. This would be we'll say 3 points are gonna get you. Do they have names? No. So effective 3 points is a reinforcement part, a reinforcement or basic part. Actually, it should be basic or reinforcement. A basic or reinforcement part. Part gains a new fragmented aptitude. This is going to be no. We want to do 2. The doll gains +1 aptitude points. Yeah, not really like a great. This isn't really like a good way to spend your favor. There are better things to spend your favor on than these. But it also allows you to kind of get something a little bit more out of it. And so you're warping a little bit. Like, these aren't like brand new position, like class skills. These aren't like super, like, these aren't like new skills or anything. No, these aren't like, this is like some pretty good things. Like 10 is like what I'd say like the top tier. Like technically you can be like 20, but you don't really, you're spending 20, you're not. And like this isn't, no. You're probably going to get like per session about 5, so you can do some, get some things if you want, which is going to say 4. The doll internalizes one of her fragmented aptitudes. And then we have to do, it would be 4 again, so internalize the fragmented aptitude. Actually, what we can do is 3, and then for 4 is the doll gains a new learned aptitude of her choice. Starting at 0. So these are our basic ones. Technically, I should organize these like. There we go. Technically, this is how it should look. We're going to go table properties real fast. We want to make this a gray background, middle, center. There we go. That should be it, because like roughly speaking, if you were to believe it, regenerating basic or damaged parts, that's okay, that's pretty valuable. Like you want to consistently do that. But like, hey, you get new skills and shit. Like, yeah, okay, that works. I think I think this is appropriate. I might yell at the people, say like how like on average how much favor you should be handing out. I would go with about 5, 5, 6, depending on the length of the campaign. Because you don't want people to level up too quickly, but you also don't want them to level up too slowly either. Yeah, alright. I think I'm feeling good with that. I'm feeling good. T2 basic reinforcement, the doll. So, yeah, moment of truth. Actually, let's see how these actually look when I go to here. I do insert, and we do a table of contents right here. Okay, this looks kind of how it's supposed to. All right, I'll add some images here just to keep it nice and pretty like, because people get pissed if I don't do that. So I'm gonna call it here for today. Godspeed, good luck. On Wednesday, either if I find some like, if people are like, I want all these things for non-combat stuff, I'll probably just work on that. If not, we will begin working on. Probably we won't do grid combat right away. That's probably not going to be like the big thing. It's not going to be grid combat. We will most likely start playing around with some of the like battle. We'll play around with the battlefield quite a bit and see what we can do with that to expand things out. And then we'll begin working on grid combat because grid combat's going to suck. Let me reiterate this real fast. It's going to suck. And it's going to be painful. And it's going to be unfun. So, thank you all for watching. Godspeed, good luck. I will catch you all on Wednesday. There might be a stream tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling, and depending on if I want to just, like, burn through the rest of Hive Fleet. I want to burn through the rest of Hive Fleet, there might be a stream tomorrow, and that will literally be probably a YouTube stream of me going through Hive Fleet. It's literally just going to be me finishing up Hive Fleet. So, that's that. Thank you all very much. Godspeed, good luck, and I will catch you all next time.